Hello, this is Dr. V from the Burnout Show and Jessie, my Norwegian forest cat. And today I'm talking to Thor Olafsson, and he's gonna tell us give us some tips on how you can be a conscious leader and avoid burnout in the process. My first question to you, Thor, is why are you on this path of conscious leadership? How did you get there?
Thank you for having me on your show. And the reason why am I on this path on conscious leadership? Well, the short version is that working with a number of senior teams through a number of years on strategy processes, it started to become clear to me that we were too self-centered. Some managers were looking out for their own interest rather than what's best for the business, and forming alliances to get some strategic points through. But essentially, it was about securing their position rather than thinking, A, what's best for the company or what's best for the customers, the employees. And it wasn't very holistic. So I thought to myself, okay, I need to find a way to go deeper, and I need to understand what's really happening. On that path, I discovered that, we have our persona, our ego, our story that we keep telling ourselves about who we are. And if life is too much about defending and protecting that persona, we are too preoccupied with that and cannot focus outwards. And that there is a more conscious way by connecting to our inner selves and let's say releasing the grip on the ego a little bit. I'm not going to say be ego-free completely. That's quite a fantasy, but to be freer from the ego.
Yes. I don't know whether you know, but I'm a journey practitioner, and we have. Do I know you from there? Because they have a program called No Ego.
Yes, there.
Yeah. So I thought that was really, really insightful. But yes, we can. I don't think we should go completely without ego. But the people who become managers in the past were generally the ones that were very concerned with their own position rather than with the well-being of the people that they should manage. And I've seen that many times in hospitals that I worked in. The manager is so important. If they don't care about the well-being of the people who work there, they will just lose staff, get a very bad atmosphere, and people will start making mistakes. And it's so important that they care more about the people's well-being rather than the dollar and how many and the numbers, because without the staff, the whole program of business just collapses. So that is very important. I'm glad more and more people are waking up to that. So can you give us 3 tips for being a conscious leader without burning out?
Well, is it about being conscious or avoiding burnout?
Don't you think that there's just start with the conscious leader?
Yeah, there's clearly a connection. Yes. And I'd say, so when you connect with a purpose that you feel sits outside yourself, and you have a strong sense for that purpose, and it is a source of energy. And the burnout often comes, at least in my experience, but you're the expert on it, when people feel helpless, stuck on a treadmill, with unable to get out of the loop, and with no particular important purpose. So they're And that's not a good place to be in. So one thing is, if I can connect to a higher, bigger, broader purpose, it is a provider of energy. Another thing is a bit more, may sound weird, but when we disconnect a little bit from our ego, and let's say we're in a state of relaxation and can connect to an energy source that, I have a practice where I sit and relax and I breathe in white light. And then when I breathe out, it is a cleansing effect and cleans out frustration, bad emotions, bad feelings, etc. It's as if the white light, breathing in the white light, is being plugged in and charged. And that's next to the purpose topic. It is in addition to the purpose topic. So I have two ways of charging my batteries. One is I feel I'm working on something worthwhile. That's the purpose aspect. And the other one is that I tap into an energy source that may to some people seem imaginary, but when you breathe in that way, and you breathe in the white light, and you feel the energy rushing through your body, and you feel the garbage being breathed out, that's different. Now, then I think there's a third point, and you may need to help me on this one. I travel a lot on my job, and part of that means planes, trains, and automobiles, and different types of hotel rooms. And earlier on in my career, I had muscle aches, tensions in my back and my shoulders and my neck. And whenever I came back to my home base in Iceland, I would have a husband and wife team. They're both masseurs, and they would, find slots to get me back together again and get me back on the road, because I couldn't sleep well because of the pain in the muscles. And this was wearing me down. And I felt like I was up against the wall and not really being able to carry on. And I learned a method to release negative energy, stress. And to make a very long story short, this couple, masseurs, became friends of mine. And they would come to dinner parties at my home. And one time they came and they said, well, we're a little bit upset with you now, because you stopped ordering massage appointments. And the reason was I didn't need them anymore.
So how did you do it? Tell us.
Well, you being a journey practitioner, you will know some of the methods. Just letting yourself feel the negative emotion, allowing it to become big, and do what it wants and take over. And then when that subsides, another one comes up and another one, and you sort of feel like you're dropping through these layers. And
so for people who don't know the journey method, which of course is beautiful, and I love doing that work, the short version would be for people is to listen to the messages your body are trying to tell you. Because your muscle pain and your sore joints, it's because your body is trying to tell you you're doing something wrong. You shouldn't be traveling like this, or you shouldn't be sleeping in hotel rooms where the energy is not so great, or you're picking up energy from other people. Also, most likely, the more people you meet, or if you fly a lot, you have the radiation from the plane. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can lead to that exhaustion and that pain. But the tip is that if your body has pain, to actually sit with the pain, accept the pain, and listen to it. And then you might get the message like quite easily on what is really wrong and what does my body want to tell me. That's one of the main things that I had to learn after I almost died twice from burnout, is to not ignore the messages of my body, because I was brought up in a way that, you know, if you fall, you just get up and keep on going, and no crying, no complaining. If you have anything wrong with you, you just learn to ignore the signals of your body. So one morning I couldn't get out of bed anymore, not even, couldn't drag myself to the bathroom anymore. I was so exhausted. And so that's what burnout does. If you don't listen to the early signs, and one day you will not be able to get out of bed, or one of my colleagues just dropped dead. So things like that can happen. It's important we start respecting our body and listening to our body. While we might be very mental people, and I'm also very spiritual, but the body is still here for a reason. It's a fantastic tool, not only to enjoy life and get around, but also it gives you these messages. So now when I'm tired, I'll allow myself to sleep earlier or later or whatever. If I feel I need certain food, if I feel I need a massage is like one of the tips we can put here. It helps a lot for people who have stress and who sit a lot, because that whole postural tension is not good for our bodies, and then the energy can't flow well. If you have to sit if you have to sit on a plane or in trans or in any other vehicle where you can't move, I'm sure your natural energy flow is not going the way it should. Yeah, so I really love what you said about life purpose also, because that's one of the 6 modules of my burnout program. Is I help people find their life purpose. I have a whole questionnaire for that, because if people really feel that what they do is their life purpose, it doesn't feel like work anymore. It's more like turning your hobby into something that provides financially. So I find that's really important, because I meet a lot of people where they become a doctor or an accountant or whatever their society and culture expects from them. Often their parents expect certain things from them, but they don't love what they do. So they will start getting burnt out, because if there's no passion in what you do every day, it's just soul killing. And so I find that a very, very nice that you brought this up, because it's very important that people like know what their purpose is, and then can make their life so much more meaningful, so they don't have a reason to burn out, because they're doing like the work you were supposed to do, the work you were born for. That's actually a book that I read from Nick Williamson. It's really, really insightful. It's so important. So in conclusion, I got your message about the life purpose and the breathing in the white light and releasing the negative energy. And I do believe we have access to universal energy in any case. Breathing in white light is also a very spiritual technique that a lot of spiritual people teach. But the third thing about is this what you mean with being a conscious leader, or is that it, or is there also something in how you behave differently when you're a conscious leader, because you're leading somebody? Who are you leading, and how does it influence the people that you lead?
Yeah, the inner compass of conscious leadership that's presented in my book has 8 elements to it, and the really, really short version is, first step is, what is the truth about me? Mm-hmm. What is true to the story that I've been telling myself about who I am, and what may be known or not known to me. You know, as simple as the Johari window. You can use personality tests. You can really challenge yourself to get to know yourself, and especially understand what patterns may I have that serve me, and what patterns may I have that do not serve me. And somewhere in the truth about me, my purpose is in there. It's hidden in there. What's meaningful to me? What's less meaningful? And I can work out the meaningful themes, and maybe find several themes that help bring my purpose together. And then the question becomes, okay, what do I intend to do with it? What is my intention? And to lead an intentional life, you can lead an intentional life that is completely ego driven, and your intent is to earn as much money as you can, gain as much power as you can. But usually in conscious leadership, when you become more conscious of all your surroundings and not just you individually, you become more selfless in your pursuit. So your truth and your purpose and your intention are more holistic, involving the people around you, the environment, the planet, etc. And then we say, okay, but at the end of the day, we're human. We may and probably will make mistakes and fall flat on our noses. And so the next step is, despite your best intention, things could go wrong. So the next step is humility, and be humble towards yourself, which means open to the possibility that we're not perfect. And as you do, you move to the next step, which is, you start to trust yourself more. You know your truth, you know your purpose, you know your intention, you know you're not perfect, you're very humble. And when you fall, you get back on your feet again, and you start to trust that you know yourself. And then when you're ready to really go deeper, we move into forgiveness and say, okay, what is it that I need to let go of? What is it that I'm carrying around without maybe knowing? Like you said earlier, sit with your pain. What's your body telling you? What's your, mood telling you? And as you learn to let go and forgive, you become more self-compassionate, and your capacity to be compassionate towards others is increased. And that's also a hallmark of conscious leadership, is that is being compassionate, but not check in the box type of compassionate because somebody tells you to, but rather discovering it through the journey, through the inner compass, that you are compassionate, and you always were. It's just that your own ego, your own self-interest are like a veil that was drawn in front of it, and you just don't feel it or see it. And when you get to this point, you come to the final step of the inner compass, which is heartfelt gratitude for the journey that you've made. And then you go through it again, and you go, I can't explain it here, but it's the way you travel through the compass is a horizontal 8, which stands for eternity, and it's ever expanding. And at the end of the day, it basically says, you can be expanding as a human being, as your state of consciousness, for as long as you're here.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. I think you need to be quite mature. I mean, this is like something you go through as you mature in life. I'm not sure whether you will find a 20-year-old leader that is already there, but maybe they are being born now a lot more conscious than we used to be. So that's fantastic. I mean, that sounds like the perfect leader to me, with all of these aspects. And I do understand it's a continuous journey. You might have to revisit certain things, but you always up level your knowledge and your humility and all of that. You will always like get to the next level of these aspects of being human. I love this. So how can people get your book, and can you tell us the title again?
Yes, the book is on Amazon only.
Yeah.
And the main title is Beyond Ego, and the subtitle is The Inner Compass of Conscious Leadership.
Nice title. Okay, I'll make sure that is in the message under the video. And also, how can people reach you? Do you want people to contact you or not?
Yeah, I mean, if they go on my company's website, strategic leadership, strategicleaders.com, they'll find me. They'll also see the information about me on Amazon and be able to contact me there. It's myself and my team, I have about 40 trainers and coaches. We work with multinationals around the world on big leadership development projects. And what's really cool to see is that across the board, these large corporations are more and more open to exploring, going deeper into who they are and why they want to be in management and why they want to pursue that certain career with that certain company. And I think that's a sign that we are getting better. And yes, there are not many 20-year-olds that would take the path of the inner compass at the moment. But maybe more and more 35 and 36-year-olds that would be willing to do that and then be much better managers at 40 than we were at 40.
Yeah. Absolutely. Although I had my own business at 40, and I really, my staff was like family to me, which might not be the same, might not be ideal either, but I really, really cared about everybody. And I kind of selected my staff so that everybody would get along. So it was a really pleasant work environment that way.